Hey everyone, it's Tracy. I have been wanting to do a favorites video for quite a while now. I have 80 some odd tarot decks and probably 20 some odd oracle decks, and I've been wanting to pick out my favorites and do a little video saying here are my favorites and maybe a little bit about why. But I never could narrow it down to a relatively decent number of decks that I wouldn't just say, oh, I love all my decks and here are all my decks. So I think it was yesterday on the Facebook group for the love of cards. Instead of your top favorite decks, what decks would you repurchase if they all burned in a fire? And that made it a little bit easier to create a list, because if I looked at all the decks I had and thought, all right, which ones of those am I going to go out and buy again? Because I will miss them so much because they're gone. And the list of decks that I came up with just surprised me even at how diverse and how some of them just really were not what I expected. So it said on the Facebook post 5, but I just picked the ones I would replace, and I think it turned out to be 10. And these are the ones I would replace right away. Eventually I might find myself missing some of the other ones and replacing them, but these are the ones that I would take the little bit of homeowner's insurance I have, go out and buy right away. And the first one is my Rider-Waite deck, and not a modern printing of the Rider-Waite deck. I would have to go out and get a vintage Rider-Waite. This is a pre-1975 copyright-free version of the Rider-Waite yellow box deck. That's just absolutely exquisite, and so I'd be back hunting on eBay for another one of those. So that's the first one that I would have to do. Another one that I would have to do would be Terror of the Sweet Twilight, and that one really surprised me. I haven't worked with it too much, but it is just a deck that makes my intuition sing. So I would have to go out and replace this one immediately as well. It's got bizarre images. It's not Rider-Waite Smith. I mean, look at that. I love that fool. He's got some strings controlling him, and I think that's just an interesting concept of, okay, yeah, you're on this journey, you're taking this journey, but what's really pulling your strings? And so I really enjoy this deck. So that one would have to be on the list. This one really surprised me. I haven't seen very many people talk about this one at all, and this is a Rider-Waite clone. It's Legrand, Circus, and Slideshow Tarot. And it's a US Games, but look at this wonderful box that it comes in. Hard box. Comes with a little white book, which apparently, oh, there it is. A couple extra cards. Here's the little white book. But the little white book is one of their better little white books. It really goes into some detail about each of the cards. Has kind of a Bozo the Clown on the back. And these are still in order because I was doing something with them. But the way they managed to convey, no, they're not in order. The fool just happened to be on top. The way they managed to convey the traditional Rider-Waite Smith meanings with these images of a circus. And all the people who work at a circus and all the people who come to see a circus. I just love this deck. So I would definitely have to get this one back. As far as I know, it's still in print. The cardstock is really sturdy. As a matter of fact, I kind of have a hard time shuffling it because it's so thick. But I really also love these two-piece boxes that are hard enough to knock on. Let's put that back in there. And these are in no particular order. They're just in the order that I'm grabbing them. The next one, you've seen all over the place, is the Jeopardy. And I actually have, yep, I have two versions of this deck. I don't have two versions. I have two copies of this deck already. Because I love, first of all, because I love this deck so much. And secondly, because this way I can have a trimmed one that I've trimmed down, which I love, and an untrimmed one, which I also love. This one's also another US Games that has really sturdy cardstock. It's kind of hard to shuffle both ways. I thought maybe once I trimmed it, it would be easier to shuffle, but it's not. And I do love the little, the descriptions in the book. They're short and brief, but very much to the point. I love this deck. Obviously, I already have an extra copy. Let's see. Next would be my Hezekiah. Love my Hezekiah Tarot. This was one of those where I was really on the fence when I bought this deck. I wasn't sure that I was going to particularly get along with the court cards. But I love this deck. I love the colors. I love the art style. I love the funny looking little people or pixies or fairies or whatever they are. They're just fabulous. And it's also a Rider-Waite Smith clone. It follows Rider-Waite pretty traditionally, but it has the best looking death card I've ever seen. And I've shown that before, so I'm not going to try to find it now. Yeah. Hezekiah. This, of course, I would have to, absolutely have to replace my Ellis deck. I would say that the Ellis deck is Rider-Waite Smith inspired. It's pretty much a Rider-Waite deck, but it's also got a lot of nuances. Those are my extra cards. It's got a lot of nuances that I really, really enjoy and that I can pick up on. Yeah, and all the rods have foxes in them. All the swords have ravens in them. It's I know the art's created digitally, but it's not comic book art, I guess, which I don't have any problem with comic book art, but it's just not my favorite. So you can see, I love that Seven of Pentacles with that little boy. He's just showing the little boy, you know, how things grow and how some of the things that you grow don't turn out the way you want them to. Even with all the work you put into them. So, and then this is, I did spend the extra money and I got the premium edition. And I know I've talked about this before, but my goodness. Gotta love the way that shuffles. Okay. Next would be, yes, this deck that I watched all 3 hours of Kelly's walkthroughs and said, that deck's not for me. I've watched all these videos. I've seen everybody talking about this deck. That deck's not for me. I don't particularly like the artwork. But people kept saying, this is a great deck. This is a great deck. So I figured, okay, it's 22 bucks. I'm going to break it down. I don't know that anybody needs to see this. You can go to Kelly's channel and see it. And I pulled a card the first day that I got the deck, and I read the description in the book, and it made me cry. And I will never be without this deck. As a matter of fact, when I know that I can get, I like the black backs. The black backs are nice. I don't mind. There's the card that's numbered incorrectly is in here. Yes, I could get a different one if I wanted to, but I don't really feel the need to. And when the new version comes to America with the new backs, I'm going to get a second copy of this one and have one copy with the black backs and one copy with the pretty blue backs. So that'll be 2 decks that I have 2 copies of. Let's see. I think I came up with 10 decks altogether. This one, the top 2 would be, well, I can't say the top 2. I can't say that exactly. This one, I actually bought in a little New Age store in Raleigh, North Carolina. Didn't even know it existed until I ran across it. This is the Tarot of Transformation. And obviously it did not come in any sort of packaging that could be reused, which is why it's in a jewelry box. But this deck, you know, if you've seen any of the videos on this deck is so amazing. This deck, the Tarot of Transformation and the Dreams of Gaia, those 2 in particular, are me decks. They are about me. They are for me. I don't know that I will ever use these decks for anything other than my own work. my own self-discovery and my own healing. But this is an absolutely stunning deck. And I saw that Kasha recently got this deck and trimmed the edges, and it looks really great with the edges trimmed. But I don't have quite that much nerve. And yes, the cardstock is pretty crappy, but I don't care. I love this deck. It has to be a pretty spectacular deck for me to not care about the cardstock. Then I've got two more tarot decks that I would repurchase, and these were both very much surprises. The Cook's Tarot, which I also see very few people actually using or talking about. This is a Schiffer deck. It has the coolest artwork. And it relates the Rider-Waite-Smith meanings in sort of kitchen terms. And anybody who's ever done any cooking whatsoever can clearly see what these mean. And the book is also really good. The book goes into the different meanings of the different things that are in the cards. So I really love this one. Again, they're a little big. It's a Schiffer deck, so they're a little shiny. And sometimes stick together. It makes it a little hard to shuffle. But I would not be without this deck. And then the last tarot deck really took me by surprise because I'm not much of an animal person. It's this Animal Wisdom Tarot, which is what, $12? It's ridiculously inexpensive. And it has the best little book. Just the best little book about what these are all about. You know, it even gives you the traditional card name. Talks about the message. It's just a fabulous little deck. See, it has very soothing. You could use this with kids. Very soothing images. Yeah, some of them are a little, yeah, that's a little. But even there, you can't actually see. I mean, there's supposed to be a dead animal there, but that's not too bad. So this is a very soothing deck. I like this deck a lot. Okay, so that's the tarot decks. I believe there were 10. So out of the 80 or something tarot decks that I own, there are only 10 that I would say, okay, I've got to go out and replace them right now. And of the 20-something Oracle decks, there were only 3 that I would have to replace immediately. And this one, I love this deck, the Shamans Oracle. It's just so different, and the images are just so cool. And unfortunately, I do think it's out of print, but it's not one of those that's highly sought after out of print, and the box is horrible. I need to take that insert out. So you can get this still, and it's fairly inexpensive. I'm just not even gonna try. But it's just such a powerful deck, and it speaks to me so eloquently. It's just a beautiful, beautiful deck. And you can see it has pictures in the book and interpretations and an explanation, and then it also comes with this little thing that gives you a spread. And let's see, the second Oracle deck that I would get, again, another one that I don't hear much about. The Magical Times Empowerment cards. You'd think that was a little bit fluffy, but it's really not. It's got a lot of stuff in it that's it's fairly well balanced. It's a little huggier than a tarot deck, but I really love the artwork. Reconciliation, action, stop hesitating. So it gives you real things to do and how to heal. I love that dragon. So that's that deck. Another inexpensive. This is US Games, and I love the box it comes in. It has a little flip up. You slide the cards in long ways. It also has a little white book, but you really don't need the little white book because it says everything it needs to. And the last Oracle deck that I would absolutely have to repurchase, my absolute favorite Oracle deck of all time, is the Soulflower Plant Spirit Oracle deck. This is the artwork on this is just my very, very favorite style of artwork, period. I love flower paintings. I love the messages. It's just an exquisite deck. And I just read on Instagram today that she's printing another run of these. So if you didn't get one the first time, you'll have the opportunity to get one soon. The web address is mysoulflower.com. I highly, highly recommend this deck. As a matter of fact, she did a small run of day planners for 2017 with these images in it, and a place where you can, write your daily draws and that sort of thing. I was just all over that as soon as I heard about it, and I should have it coming in a few weeks, I hope. So those are the ones that I would immediately have to repurchase if I tragically lost all of my decks in a fire or some other natural disaster, which doesn't seem that unlikely the way the weather's been lately. And I hope you enjoy, and I'd love to hear what yours are. I've read some of the posts on Facebook, but I'd love to see some video responses so I can actually see the decks. Have a great day.